Claudine Francois and the founder of In Good Clean Taste. I am dedicated to helping women entrepreneurs design a healthy lifestyle by incorporating healthy, delicious tools, tips, and resources that empower their inner and outer game. Every episode, my featured guest and I share our healthy, delicious lifestyle journey on my globally recognized show, Healthy, Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine. Hello and welcome to Healthy Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine. I am content creator and board certified functional medicine and holistic health practitioner, Claudine Francois. You can always learn more about me at ingoodcleantaste.com. Oh my gosh, today's topic is so amazing. I'm so excited to bring on my guest, and be sure to stay on to the end because she has a very special gift for our community. Now, today's show topic is how to unlock holistic wellness by mastering your breath. Woo! This is a big show. Okay. I can't wait for you to meet our guest. I'm going to bring her up from the green room in just a minute, but let me tell you a little bit more about her first. Elizabeth Browning Jones, RMT, is best known for her intuitive mind, body, spirit healing approach to bodywork and self-care, which encompasses craniosacral therapy, massage, functional breathing training, yoga therapy, and online education and empowerment. If you haven't heard about some of these things, you're going to be blown away. Combining 30 years of practice in the healing arts, Elizabeth's life passion is providing a safe, sacred, natural space for clients to access their own inner healing experience and holding that for them until they can learn to hold it on their own. Oh my goodness. I'm going to bring her up from the green room so you can meet the amazing Elizabeth Browning Jones. Hello.
Hi, Claudine. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have you. Thank you for coming on. I know we have so much to talk about, so I want to start digging right in. And I'm going to start by asking you the first question I ask all my guests, which is, what does a healthy, delicious lifestyle mean to you?
Oh, this is such a good question. This is the living it day in and day out. And,
Mhm.
I really feel for me and, what I try to kind of cultivate and curate for my family is that 80-20 rule. 80% of the time,
Mm.
we're really eating super clean. I prioritize for myself, I prioritize walking and doing yoga and doing weights and getting to the gym and doing those things. But it gives us enough flexibility that, we go on vacation sometimes. And I have a 11-year-old and school things come up. And I like that 80-20 rule because there's a little wiggle room. But I just feel that if 80% of the time you're really committed and you prioritize and you plan and you put it into your day, I still really feel that you get the big return. But doing it, it's the compound return. Like you're sticking with it. It's like what you're offering to people who watch. It's like it's the lifestyle. So
Mm. Well, that's such a good point, right? Because for one thing, if you've made it a habit, then it's easy, right? And if you've made it part of your routine to prepare things for yourself, then it becomes a lot easier you just make your weekday easier. Like for a lot of my clients, they're super busy during the week. So I'm like, let's spend 1 hour a week prepping your food. 1 hour a week prepping your food. So you come home and either it's already made or you just like throw something together. You don't have to worry about the fact that soccer practice ran late or you had a long meeting or there was a PTA, whatever, right?
right.
Like, I love that. That's so, so good. All right, let's start talking about breathing. I am so excited that you were doing this. I feel like this is one of those, I don't want to say untapped, practices, but I feel like a lot of people don't. I mean, we take breathing for granted. We breathe in, we breathe out. We body does it automatically, but there's so much that I think most of us don't realize about the quality of breath and how to breathe. And here I am talking so much, I'm running out of breath. But I want to get to your first tip because it's so, so good. So, this tip is nasal breathing. Let's talk about nasal breathing because most of us are like, what? Don't we breathe through our nose? But you talk about light and low and slow can change your life. It's biochemistry, biomechanics, and autonomic nervous system regulation boiled down into one tip. Tell us, lay people, what you're talking about here. Give us the juicy stuff.
Well, like you said, breathing is something that we do from the day we're born till the day we die. It's on a very subconscious level. It's automatically running. And so, when I get excited to talk to people about breathing, they're like, come on, Elizabeth, you got something else for me. But the thing that I've really realized over time and with working with clients over many years is that if we do have a pattern where we're breathing more through our mouth, you're going to have a big impact. Not just you're going to have it on your nervous system, you're going to have it on your cellular metabolism and the way that your body is able to make use of oxygen. So if you aren't sleeping well, if your energy is lagging, if you feel like you're short of breath, if you feel like you are sighing, sniffing, yawning a lot, if you get tingling fingers and toes, your hands and feet get more cold, uh,
Mm.
you tend to have thoughts that are really running, you get really like chronic tension in the neck and shoulders, you might have a breathing pattern that needs some help. Yeah. And so,
Need help me, Elizabeth.
and it's funny because when I first learned about the functional breathing, I was already a yoga teacher, and this was 2006. And I would cue people to take a big deep breath. And what would happen is people go, and they do a big filling. And it wasn't until I started studying with one of my first mentors that I realized I'd been cueing people wrong. And I myself had inadvertently kind of given myself a more shallow breathing pattern. And, all that really means is that you're either mouth breathing and you're just breathing using the upper part of the lungs. And to
Mm.
really have functional breathing, we need to breathe through the nose. And when you breathe through the nose, it automatically takes the air into the lower lobes of the lungs. And you can get into a lot of chemistry with it. I've been going over more chemistry than both my high school chemistry partner would be so proud of me, and my college chemistry professor would be like blown away. But we don't have to go into that. It's actually really easy to just start to add it into your day. And you can start with the really, really simple stuff, and you can graduate and do more later. But it's a really great way to start to work on things that will give you a big return. And the kind of people that are watching this channel, they're already invested and they're already really interested, and they probably already do a lot of things that are really healthy. So it's kind of a fun, easy way to add in one more thing for a really high return, a big
And
impact.
correct me if I'm wrong, don't we get 20% more oxygen when we breathe through our nose than when we breathe through our mouth?
Yeah, I mean, it's totally amazing. I mean, for different reasons. One is that when you breathe through your nose, we have these cool little turbinates, and when you breathe through your nose, it automatically brings in more air into the lower lobes of the lungs, and that's where there's more blood flow, and
Mm.
it's not just bringing it into like a dead space. And then on top of that is that in general, with the way that we evolved, we're evolved to breathe through our nose, not through our mouth. And you can, and there are certain instances you do need to breathe through your mouth, but as your everyday pattern, we're really designed to breathe with nasal breathing. And
Mhm.
amazingly, there's these amazing molecules in the back of the nose called nitric oxide. And when you breathe through the nose, it helps make the nose more open, less congested. And that's probably the main thing that people will tell me, well, my nose is congested, so I can't breathe through my nose. And so there's lots of little tools that you can use. And one of it is that over time, if you don't nasal breathe, you're not getting as much of that. And so that it's not staying open. And then that same nitric oxide helps with more oxygen uptake. And you're just going to feel healthier all over if your body's actually getting the nutrients that you were supposed to be getting, the molecules from breathing. So.
Yes, and just to kind of tack onto that, so one of the things my yoga teacher taught me was when you're congested to just breathe through one nostril or like to
That's
switch. Is it the
yeah.
switching or is it just the one?
I mean, I think switching definitely works. You can also you can just breathe out and hold your nose for a few minutes, like not like a minute, as long when you get that first urge to breathe, you can stop, but it lets the carbon dioxide and some of the nitric oxide build up in there a little bit. So
So cool. So cool. Okay, can we show the video that you sent me? I'm super excited about this video. Okay, so Elizabeth has some great videos on her website if you want to check them out. What's the name of your website? Tell everybody real quick.
it's elizabethbrowningjones.com.
Okay, so if you want to check out more of her videos, they are on her website. So I'm just going to show this little one. I'm going to drop us down so people can see the full thing if they're watching this. Let me bring it in. Hold on a sec. All right.
Breathing technique. So for best results in living in a human body is when we breathe through our nose. So we're going to do this together. This one's kind of fun, but I can't help it. It's just too fun. Yeah. So it's great. It makes me feel like I'm 5. So when you put your finger under your nose, you can lower it just a little bit. But what it is we're going to slow our breath down, and we're going to see if we can breathe so slow that we're like barely moving the hairs when we're exhaling. But you want to be able to feel the air on your finger. So I'm going to not look at you because otherwise I'm going to laugh. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
That one is so fun. That's so cute. I love that because that's the outtake, right? But you have like some of the full videos on your website, which are super cool. And by the way, if anyone else noticed, because one of the things I noticed in that video was that adorable cushion that you guys were sitting on. So if anyone like wants a meditation cushion, I'll put a link to this one that you can see on the screen if you're watching this in the notes, because I think that looks really fun to sit on. I want to sit on a meditation cushion.
Yeah. It you know what? Being comfortable, it helps, and it gives you something to look forward to when you go to do, some breathing and that kind of stuff. So it's great.
Awesome. So cool. All right. So your next tip. Okay. If for people who have not heard this, they're going to be like, what are you talking about? I think this one is so cool. Wearing mouth tape at night can help with insomnia, anxiety, asthma, and sleep apnea. What, Elizabeth? What?
I know. Well,
tell us more.
Well, the main reason is when we mouth breathe, you are actually breathing out one of our gases called carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is a waste gas from metabolism, but we also need some of it. But the problem is when you're mouth breathing, you are actually breathing out a little bit too much. And so when you tape at night, you're not having a deficit of it. And what they're finding, it's really amazing. And the cool thing is now that the research and the science is catching up on what they were figuring out a long time ago, but that things like insomnia, anxiety, asthma, panic, but the big one too, that's really you hear a lot about now is sleep apnea. And when you breathe through your nose, the nervous system is more relaxed. When you breathe through your mouth, a lot of your viewers have heard this term of fight, flight, freeze. There's a part of your nervous system that kind of it's more complicated than this, but when you get stressed or excited, it feels like it's helping you run away from a tiger. And what happens when you're breathing through your mouth is that fight, flight, freeze is upregulated. And so you're getting a lower quality of sleep. It affects the brain. It can affect the central ways that your body is affecting with sleeping and what they call regulation or nervous system or autonomic regulation. And so I'm so excited to share this with the people that are listening because it's a fairly simple thing that you can add in and really get big results, because those things that we were just talking about that it's a tip for, those are really big things that can impact people's lives day to day. And if there's really simple little things that you can add in that massively impact your life, I just really get very passionate about sharing about it. So we were talking about taping. Is it okay for me to show what it might look like?
Yes, absolutely. Show away.
All right. So it's kind of funny. I can't believe I'm doing this like in front of a camera, but I have to tell you, it took a minute for me to kind of get used to it, like with my husband. But you know what? He realized that a wife that was better rested, you know what? When you sleep well and it actually helps you so that you don't get the impulse to have to get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. It's
Nice.
chemistry, but if you're aging, that's a thing for people. So
Mm-hmm.
you can put it around your mouth
Mm.
like that, and you
Mm-hmm.
can still talk, but it's just enough that it holds the lips together.
Mm-hmm.
When I really need to have my lips together for sleep, I'll even wear it kind of like this, where it really holds it. And
Right.
so yeah, they have this. There's a even hardier version. So this again kind of goes along
Let me show these.
like
So there's
that.
these ones that you had given me the link to, right? So I'll put
Yes,
the link in the show notes
and
because
and
these are
I
easily
like
accessible on
those.
Amazon.
And I like those because they're clear. It's a little less obvious than this blue, and it has a tiny little strip that you can breathe through. And
Mm-hmm.
I found myself kind of breathing through the tiny little strip. But, overall, eventually it helps to actually just build the muscles that would do that. And that way you're
Mm-hmm.
not like always doing tape. But it's been really transformative for my sleep. And I mean, anybody can tell you, if mama hasn't slept well, it's hard. You know?
It's true.
I'm an entrepreneur. I've got two businesses, and an 11-year-old that has tons of sports and activities, and without sleep, man, it's hard to make all that work. So um it's been very life transforming, and it's transformed what I've been doing with clients, how I've been teaching my yoga, how I've been teaching the
Mm.
functional breathing. And the tape is one like small part of it, but it really can help. And they're finding that, your daytime breathing affects your nighttime breathing. So people that are having insomnia and sleep apnea, they need to be doing the nasal breathing during the day. But they're also finding that if people mouth breathe at night, that's affecting their sleep. And then that's affecting brain fog, fatigue, being able to have focus and attention. And even having it play back into the idea that, kids with ADHD or adults, that they might actually, the mouth breathing is maybe one of the keys that's making it worse. So,
And it's such an easy thing to try, right? Like anyone can pick up these sleep sits. You could probably get them at the local drugstore, right?
oh,
If
yeah,
you didn't want to get them through the link I'm going to
yeah,
provide, but like why not try it? Because there's really no downside.
right. And it's interesting because they even have them now where high level sports performers are doing it during their training, and this has been the hardest part for me.
Mm.
I mean, I can do it with walking. I've been getting myself to do it with hiking. It's a lot harder on the treadmill and the stair climber, but I've been pushing myself to even take it to the level where you're performing your exercise with it. And they're finding that it really um, gives you results. And they're doing it with like SEAL teams and um, high level sports teams and like soccer teams that are performing and like preparing for big World Cup kind of things. So,
Well, sure, because we've often heard of athletes going to high altitude level places so they can increase their lung capacity. If you can increase your oxygen by 20% just by wearing a tape over over your mouth, like why not? Because you're breathing through your nose. Heck yeah. I can see that. That's
yeah.
awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the next thing, like, I don't know about you, Elizabeth, but for me, sometimes, like, let's say I'm in a stressful situation. I'm in a meeting. My kid said something that really annoyed me. I'm in traffic or whatever. Like sometimes I just need to stop and take I call them timeout breaths
I love it.
to de-stress.
Yeah.
Do you notice this is something that you recommend as well?
Yes, and you're right, because even in 3 breaths, it's a lot of times it's enough for the brain to pick up on, okay, we can regulate a little better. There isn't really a tiger. We're just frustrated right now. And so, breathing through the nose, even with the deep breath, and making sure that it isn't too big. A lot of times I'll just really slow it down and get it light. But I like that you're saying deep because you're getting it deeper down into your lungs. You want the lower ribs to expand. So
Mm.
I love that deep, because a lot of times we don't know it, but if you're shallow breathing and you're more lifting to breathe or breathing here, you're actually making that fight, flight, freeze worse. So
Worse, yeah.
yeah, yeah. But
Oh
just,
my gosh.
just bringing the focus back to the breath. And I tell people, I'm like, if you can slow it down, that will automatically, it'll help you. And, it's great to have a certain number of breaths in and out. And I said, you can get really fancy, but if you slow down your breath, get it deep, like you said, if you focus on it for a minute, your body just starts to regulate better. You're not letting go as much carbon dioxide. Your body can like utilize your oxygen, and it helps you be more clear-headed. And
Mhm.
for people that need to make executive decisions, and it can help you be more creative because it flips you out of the fight, flight, freeze. Because the opposite of that is, they call it rest, digest, heal. It's called the parasympathetic response, and that's where you're teaching people about this amazing nutrition and food prep. But I tell people, one of the things is really important is sit down to eat and slow your breathing so that your nervous system is not
Mm.
in fight, flight, freeze. Believe me, sometimes in the morning I'm the mom with drinking the smoothie in the kitchen, right? Because we got to get out the door, we got to drive to school. But a big tip is, if you can, sitting down to eat, settling your breath first, it can make a big difference to your digestion.
Right, because your body, if you are in that fight or flight mode, your digestion's turned off. Well, actually, everything's turned off except for the stress response, because the stress response is king. Your
Yeah.
body says, I need to survive right now. I don't need to process this food. So metabolism stops, reproduction stops. So people who are in a stress state often find that they have fertility issues. And
Totally.
then, yeah, if people who are having digestion issues, like there's no stomach acid happening, like it's just going to go straight through. Okay. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to absorb those nutrients. You're going to be more
Mhm.
tired from that. So yeah, stopping, and this, I am guilty of it too, right? I have to stop. I've made myself, I set alarms because, I can get really focused or busy, and I have to set alarms like, no, I'm going to stop now. I'm going to walk outside for a minute, get that nature. I'm going to like
Huh.
detox from whatever just happened. And I'm going to sit and enjoy my meal in a nice, calm way, because as someone who has had a lot of chronic stress in their life, I know what the result of that could be. I don't like the result. So the breathing helps. The breathing absolutely helps. And for people who, they try the breathing, they try the breath strips. That's a perfect way to start. If it's still not happening, like if you're not getting enough sleep, it could be you have hormone dysregulation
Oh
issues.
yeah.
It could be that you have gut bugs that need to be resolved. So if you want to get to the root of your health issues, I have a link going across the crawler right now. We can set up a time to talk. Okay, so oh my gosh, we're running out of time, and we still have 2 tips to go through, or one more tip. So starting off your morning with deep breaths can jumpstart your brain, your mood, and your whole day. I learned this from a friend of mine. She was like, first thing you need, and she calls it a morning practice, and you can call it
Good.
meditation. You can do
Yeah.
some yoga stretching, whatever works for you. But I notice for myself, when I do this, like automatically I have more energy. I don't need the whole caffeine jolt or as much.
Ooh, I like
Because I've already gotten the blood flowing, and my
Right.
brain's like, all right, we're good.
No, I love that, Claudine. And I tell my students and my clients, I said, if it's the first thing, like, you just open your eyes, don't grab for the phone, just like, just settle your breathing. You don't even have to get out of bed, and you don't even need anything fancy. You've got everything you need right here. And
We've
so
got it all.
you don't, yeah. And so I love that that's part of like a morning practice. It is for me too. And I actually like to do it before I go to bed. And
Mm,
just,
yeah, to unwind from the day.
yeah, I
So tell me about this book that you gave me the link to, The Breathing Cure by Patrick McKeown. Is that how you say it?
Yeah. So Patrick is amazing, and some of you may have heard of him because he was mentioned in James Nestor's book called Breathe that came out in May of 2020. Yeah.
I
And
love this book
so
too.
I realized that I'd actually already read another book of his, and I was like, oh yeah, I've heard of that guy. And he wrote another book called Oxygen Advantage, but this one really is my favorite. And he is based out of Galway, and he now is an international expert. He himself cured his own asthma, and he is so passionate. He is teaching people from around the world. His technique is based off of a Russian doctor by the name of Konstantin Buteyko, and but Patrick has made it very accessible, very easy. He
Mhm.
has apps, free apps that you could download to check this out. And this is a really good read because even though there is a little chemistry, he makes it very simple to just pick it up. You like to talk about hormones. He has interesting information in there because progesterone affects your breathing rate. And so,
Mm.
yeah, so there's some interesting stuff in there that he has specifically for women. And, you know, the great thing about him is he's able to take complex information and make it very accessible, which is helpful for
Mhm.
all of us, I think. And he also has a great book, Oxygen Advantage, that I find that, a lot of my athletes seem to be attracted to, and people that are looking for more performance. Maybe they don't have health things that are holding them back, but they just want to be at their top performance. A lot of that same information is in Breathing Cure, but it's curated more for performance.
Mm.
So that's a good
That's
one.
great.
You'll be glad that you read it if you haven't already picked it up. It's also a really good one if you have somebody, in your family or a friend that's going through a hard time. And, it's got a big title, but it's really got some amazing information. And I think everybody should have a copy on their next to their bed.
Oh, it's awesome. That's going to be on my list for sure. Elizabeth, thank you so much for
Oh my God.
sharing all this goodness with us.
Claudine, this has been so fun to come and share. And I thank you so much for the opportunity to kind of share my little passion
Mm.
about sharing about breathing. And I'm so glad I came, and I'm happy to come back anytime.
I love it. And you're going to have a free masterclass available. I'll put the link below so people can check that out. In the meantime, where's the best way for them to find you?
Well, the best way is elizabethbrowningjones.com. Lots of information on there, a few freebies, and information about some upcoming classes that I'm going to be doing that are online. We're going to be doing some in person and kind of retreat ones too. But yeah, definitely come and check out some of those resources. So thank you.
Yay. All right. I'm going to pop you into the green room, hang out, have a mocktail. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, how awesome was that? Oh, I hope you got some great information out of that. I certainly did. And you can always learn more about my guest at elizabethbrowningjones.com. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I want to remind you to think about how you can create a healthy, delicious lifestyle for yourself today. Maybe it's getting some breathing strips. Until then, join me for another episode of Healthy, Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine next Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central. And have a healthy, delicious lifestyle. See you soon. Thank you for joining me today. You can learn more about me, my products, and services at ingoodcleantaste.com. Be sure to join me for another episode every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific or 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on my globally recognized show, Healthy, Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine.